how are you? Hi, everybody. As you can see today, we have a special guest. What up, ConsciouzTv?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Sharrell.
I'm really excited to have you on here.
I'm
Let
excited to
me
be here.
quickly update the chat, and then we'll get right into it. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so
wonderful.
if you guys was watching yesterday, we all know that I am now covering the Larry Reid story. That's Tasha K, Bishop Lamore Whitehead, and Lavontraye at Andrews. What it sounds like, according to Larry, is they're scheming to uh, developing a smear campaign to make him look bad, ultimately affect his channel and his reputations. Okay. So I said I was going to follow this. I said I was going to bring different people on. I'm open to both sides. I have reached out to both sides. I've reached out to Bishop Whitehead. I've reached out to Tasha K. I want to know what's going on. So, and I'm going to talk to a lot of people. Also, we're going to have a grown adult conversation. So if you can't handle it, if you on one side and you get offended if someone says something bad about the other side, this is not the show for you. Okay, because I got my grown woman on. I don't have time for no foolery and clown. If you could talk about the case, you got anything to say about me or ConsciouzTv, I'm going to kick you out, because now I don't have time for the nonsense. I want people that really have something to say, got real questions, got real statements as an adult, because we ain't got time for that. Yesterday, I put up with it, but not today. Okay. So let's get started. Hey, Conscious.
Hi. First of all, you look absolutely stunning today.
That's
I
so
have to add
sweet.
that. I mean, you're turning me straight right now, but I'm not going to piss off Perry.
I love that.
I'm not
That's
going to
so
take your
sweet.
wife, Perry.
But we got a lot to talk about, so let's get
Yes.
right into it. So
Okay.
there's a smear campaign going on, according to Larry Reid. Do you think it's a smear campaign?
It obviously is, and because of my role and my position in this, I know that to be a fact, because Tasha K and Larry's fallout was due to me and her fallout.
Well, give
So
us a little bit of what happened.
what had happened was Tasha K and her employee had wanted to do a show to debunk some of the things that her previous mentee had been saying in Patreon,
Okay.
Storm and Row.
Ooh, okay.
And yes. And so they had scheduled a show, and they had already reached out to me that they wanted me to come over just to speak to some things, because they had brought me so into their drama in the earlier part of last year. You guys know everything that happened on my platform over Christmas weekend of 2020, and then all of the Von Ray, Storm and Row, Tasha K drama that played out on my channel last year. All those videos are up. So these people brought me in deep into their mess, into their Kibi Studios mess. So they wanted me to come over and do that. In doing so, I had went over, and Tasha K had brought up her current lawyer, Olga. And you know, Olga has been dragged ever since she lost, or helped to lose, this case for Tasha K, after she had boasted so big and bad about winning a case. She even bet her children's life on the fact that she was going to win this case against Cardi. And then, of course, there was major egg on her face. So she brought up Olga, and I made a flippant joke, just trying to lighten the mood, because they were dragging Storm at that time. And I was close associates with both parties, so I didn't want to come over there and sit in a drag fest about Storm, and I don't sit over in Storm's platform when they're dragging Tasha. So I was offended, for one, that they would do that in front of me. So in order to change the mood, when she brought up Olga, I made a flippant joke and said, "Hey, you're more mad at Storm than you are at Olga, because Storm ain't ever costed you 4.8 million pesos." Okay, so of course she began to become unhinged. Her areola started busting out of her robe, and her edges started frying up, and she started
Uh,
turning into Freddy Krueger, and she got very triggered, and she
okay.
was like, well, what would make you say that? And I said,
Uh,
well, not only did she drop a $4.8 million ball on you, she dropped a 25K one on my mentor, because Olga had missed a deadline in a previous litigation that my
ooh,
mentor Larry was involved in that costed him $25,000.
ooh.
So she jumped out of the window thinking that she had something against Larry. So she was like, well, do you know that Larry didn't even pay that $25,000 while he had you over there raising 8,000 of that tab, that my lawyer Ogre is the one who paid the tab? Did he tell you that while he had y'all out there crowdfunding for a debt that he didn't even pay himself? And so what Larry did was come up on my platform, because he was still, in close association with Tasha.
Mhm.
And he said, look, that's not true, Tasha. What you didn't know is that Olga had only paid a third of that $25,000 tab. And she told me to not tell you that she didn't pay the entire thing because you run your mouth too much.
Oh, okay.
Baby, baby,
Damn. Okay.
baby, baby. And so she started crying, and I'm just so
Tasha started
sorry.
crying.
She was crying on the live. She was acting so, I just, how, a narcissist begins to moonwalk like Michael Jackson. She began to backpedal and put on the tears in order to deflect from, the sheer humiliation and of jumping out of the window and throwing your friend under the bus. And it was so crazy that she held on to this narrative until Mad Day. She held on to something she thought was true,
Mhm.
never even confronted Larry about what Olga had told her, which was that, hey, I paid that tab. Not knowing that Olga was playing both sides. So
Damn.
when Larry had put it on blast, she was embarrassed. And the very next day, would you know that after she tried to act like it was all good and she apologized, and to give Tasha credit, Tasha also blew my phone up that night as well, trying to make things better.
Mhm.
But I'm a one-hitter quitter. Once you jump out of the window on me, I'm going to cut the strings to your parachute and let you hit that concrete head first and bust your head to the white damn meat. So
Damn.
I was
Okay.
not going to allow her to make up with me because it was too ferocious. It was too
Mm.
intentional,
Mhm.
and the optics of it were just too obvious. I didn't trust her at that point. So the next morning, she began trying to weaponize other content creators and spin a narrative that me and Larry are busting it down in the backseat of vehicles that he's purchasing for me, that he's flying out young queer men and putting them in luxury hotels, and that he's just indulging in all this boy bussy. And, that some of those content creators reached out to Larry and exposed Tasha to Larry.
Good.
And that
Okay.
was kind of the beginning of the downfall from there, really.
Okay, so you're basically saying that's then after that, she just went after him, right?
Yes, it just kept spiraling from there. She kept conspiring behind the scenes. Larry didn't even confront her about what he knew the next morning, about what she started to do the very next morning. Matter of fact, she's the one who called him, Sharrell, the next morning and said, hey, I'm just want to put a little bug in your ear. There's a content creator who's about to go live, and he's about to put out this narrative that you are flying all these homosexual men out, without telling Larry that she was the reason those content creators were about to do that. That's how
Oh,
scandalous and menacing this woman is.
oh
That's
my.
how evil and demonic and fake and two-faced it and backstabbing this woman is. Larry called me the next day and said, hey, Tasha just called me, and she's saying that this person and this person and this person are about to go live. I said, oh, this got Tasha written all over it. I said, you need to call this person and have them link you to this person. And they were able to expose Tasha for the scheme that she was scheming. The very next day, she didn't even wait 7 hours before starting to scheme against Larry. And from there, she began to do shady stuff that became more obvious and more obvious. And then it led ultimately to a full breakdown in the relationship.
My goodness. Okay, so that's when all the stuff starts
Yes.
coming out. She starts saying
Yes.
he had HIV. She
Yeah,
starts
that
saying,
he's gay, that he's same gender loving. She started equating him to Bishop Whitehead, who she's now endorsing. So Yeah. And Larry eventually just had to call it quits with her. He tried to give her, you know, as much mercy as possible because, like him, he gave Tasha a shot. The thing about me and Larry, and I can definitely speak for myself, is there are a lot of us are controversial. A lot of us also have people who are committed to hating on us. So with me being a content creator and knowing that, and I also don't keep up with everybody's beef. So when she introduced herself to me and came into my world, I treated her like a regular human person, and I allowed her to make her bed. I didn't prejudge her based upon her previous beefs. I honestly didn't even know a lot about her previous beefs aside from the one she had with Lovely T and one of her other ex mentees.
Now
And I didn't even know.
you were saying
Mhm.
she has a history of doing this to other people. Can you give me an example of who you're talking about?
Armand Wiggins,
Mm,
Lovely T,
mhm,
Sweet Mouth for Life, now Larry Reed,
mhm,
now myself.
mm.
The W Show. I don't know if you want me to say that person's name, but the W Show. Um,
Sean Davy Way, I
Sean,
remember that.
yeah, Sean Davy Way, Von Ray, Storm and Rowe. I mean,
Yeah,
the
Storm. Yeah, I
yes,
forgot.
the
Yeah.
laundry list is literally completely. Matter of fact, she's so known notoriously for not maintaining friendship that when people saw that me and Larry had proximity to her, they was like, "Oh my god, I hope that she doesn't blow this because y'all are all she have left." Like y'all are the last people she can portray on the list. It's nobody left after this. So
And she has a big one we overlooked, Cardi B.
Cardi B, yeah.
Cardi B. So how
Mhm.
much was she uh to pay in that Cardi B case? Is it 3.8?
4 point it's either 4.3, it's like 4.3 million. They revved it up. So it's a 4.3
God
million
damn.
dollar judgment. And most of that is lawyer fees on Cardi B's part.
So
She's
let me
paying.
speed up. So she doesn't like uh Larry Reed. She starts doing gangster shit,
Yeah.
according to you. And then she teams up with Bishop Larry. Was it Lamore Whitehead, right?
Yes.
Not Larry, Lamore Whitehead.
Mhm.
And
Who she was also dragging initially as well.
do you think they teamed up because of Larry?
Oh, of course. The whole principle is the enemy of my enemy is now my very best friend. Mhm.
Now he's got quite the reputation. It's important that I tell you guys that we go look into their reputations because most likely, if you have a history of doing something, you probably are continuing on with your history.
Yeah.
You think that Whitehead is very corrupt. He's being indicted right now. What do you know about his past?
Well, there's an article that was recently published and it was explosive, like so explosive that my supporters were just like, CTV, you have got to read this article. And I know there were other content creators who had to read from it. My God, today, I tell you this, I didn't know as much as the New Yorker did about the bishop. Bishop Lamar Whitehead is a convicted felon.
Mhm.
He served 5 years for identity theft. Um, since then, which was a 2008 conviction, he has had multiple pending lawsuits. One from a woman named Pauline Anderson, who was an elderly woman who trusted him with $90,000 of her life savings to invest in a home that he went and spent on luxury vehicles and luxury properties for himself. So she's currently in a litigation with him.
Is she a senior citizen?
Yes, she's like
Oh
70,
no.
80 something years old.
Oh no.
And both her and her son attend his church. That's how they know him because they are his previous church members.
Damn.
He also is being sued by someone who worked for him when he was running for something. He badgered, allegedly berated and intimidated and damn near extorted allegedly this man into giving him $5,000. And that's also a part of his current indictment as well, that particular case, along with Pauline Anderson's. Also, everybody around Lamar Whitehead is littered with corruption, including his current attorney, Brian L. Ponder, who was also dragging the living hell out of him in the earlier part of 2022. You can literally find Brian L. Ponder, his current attorney, doing collaborations with other YouTubers, saying that he even predicted that Lamar would be facing an indictment toward the end of the year. He also believed that there were multiple Pauline Andersons who were victims of Lamar, and he also bigged up Larry Reed and said, I believe that Larry Reed is now is on to something. Now he's representing that same person
Child,
who
no.
slandered.
Oh
and,
my
and,
God,
and catch,
really?
and catch this, Sharrell. Brian L. Ponder is disbarred from practicing law
Oh,
in the state of Oklahoma. A panel of judges came together and disbarred the hell out of this man from even practicing law in Oklahoma. He also has a very sketchy history himself. If you look up Brian L. Ponder, there are women who have accused this man of sexual assault, allegedly. There are
mm.
people who have accused him of scamming them out of his money. I mean, out of their money. If you look at their reviews on multiple sites, people are saying, do not hire this man. He took my money and left. He never did the work. I mean, it is a hot mess. Now, this New Yorker article is interesting because it also alluded to an alleged same-gender loving relationship between Mayor Eric Adams of New York and Bishop Lamar Whitehead. And that was vetted by this journalist who
Stop. No, you gotta stop.
Oh, okay.
Repeat what you just said.
This journalist did a full dissertation and interviewed Lamar's ex-girlfriend, who she had to kick out of her apartment, who said that Lamar would get up in the middle of the night to leave her to go be with Eric Adams.
Okay. Oh my God.
That they also spent lots of intimate time together, partying at bars, festivals, dancing, getting their twerk down on together. The article is explosive, Sharrell. It is explosive. Okay. Also, Mayor Eric Adams is also a convicted felon who was
What?
also served time for identity theft as well.
No.
So
Wait, hold on, slow down, Conscious, because I want you to be very clear what you're saying. You're saying the mayor of New York City, Eric, what's his name?
Eric
Adam.
Adams
Eric
allegedly.
Adams
Mm-hmm.
has been to prison before, or
Yes, he has a criminal arrest record. Yes, he served time for doing the same thing that Lamar Whitehead served time for doing.
well, you know what? That would make sense because birds of a feather flock together. Because I was thinking at first, just for me, like, what would the mayor have in common with this guy? You know, he just comes off as a scam artist, Bishop Lamar, to me.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that will child conscious.
Look, blame it on the New Yorker. I'm just the messenger.
And there is a article out there that
Yes.
says this.
There are
And that's
multiple
not
mugshots to corroborate this.
no.
There are convictions to prove this. I mean, these are the facts of their life, allegedly.
Do you remember the name of the article?
Yes, it's by the New Yorker and it's called How Eric Adams mentored a con. Do you want me to share that screen real quick just so that they can see
because people are in there talking about how you know. Child,
Okay.
this
All right.
is explosive.
Look,
Woo!
I did a whole reading of this article. Sharrell, I lost my titties reading this article. I just could not. Okay, so you guys can just go to the Google search, and I'm going to show it here. I'm going to share it with Sharrell. And there it is. It's by the NewYorker.com. How Eric Adams started mentoring a con man. The mayor's friends and allies have puzzled over his relationship with Lamar Whitehead and Frost the Brooklyn church leader. And baby, it tells you everything from Genesis to the book of Revelations, baby. You got to get into it.
Oh my God. Conscious. Oh my God. I don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. You got to give me a minute. I didn't know. Like, look at everybody in the chat. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Yeah. What is happening here? Oh my goodness.
In the words of LeVar Burton, you don't have to take my word for it.
So, okay. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna remove the article. You guys got the article. Okay, so listen. For me, a person's past is very important in all of this because you're showing a person with a pattern of corruptness. You show a pattern. And also, Tasha K did admit on the stand that she lied about Cardi B having herpes.
She absolutely did. If you read the transcripts from the trial, she absolutely says not only did she lie, but she lied because she felt that Cardi B was rich enough to pay for any therapy she might have needed as a result of the
Child.
slander.
Oh my God. I wish I had some pearls on. Somebody in the audience said, clutching the pearls. Child. This plays an important part. And everybody says to me, Sharrell, why do you want to focus in on their past and ignore the victims? Nobody's ignoring the victims. And I want to make this 110% clear. Nobody, a man that goes around taking advantage of children needs to be put under the jail. That's not what it's about here. I feel their history plays a role to having a smear campaign. That makes common sense to me. If you've done it once, you'll do it again. Now,
let me add to that, Sharrell. Talking about a person's history, it's very fascinating that Bishop Lamar Whitehead is even weaponizing these old allegations against Larry, because he himself is he's in a whole live stream that you can find out here on the YouTube streets, talking about his own ex-wife putting him through child protective service, etc. There are also articles of her accusing Lamar of sexually abusing their daughter, as well as him being under as well as him being under investigation by CPS for allegedly assaulting his son. But they don't want to talk about that either. Allegedly.
Someone in the chat saying this is bias. First of all, this is facts. Didn't you just see the article? See, I don't have time for people like that. Either you want to accept the truth or you don't. He is not being lied on here. Lamar Whitehead is not being. This is a fact. He's a felon with a history of conning people. Now, it might not sound polite, but it's the reality. Tasha K willingly said on the stand that she lies about stories. Now, you stop me when I'm being biased. We're laying down the facts right now. And obviously, this is not the chat for you. Please exit yourself out. I don't have time for denial. And the reason I'm so upset is because last night, my inbox was flooded with craziness. People trying to get me to change my decisions, change what I have to say. I said I am neutral and I have not chosen a side yet. But this right here today, I need to get the facts. And these are facts. Sorry, Conscious.
You're too pretty to be. You're too pretty to be mad today, Sharrell. You're too pretty.
It's a mess. It's a mess. I'm trying to get to the bottom of things, because if it turns out that Tasha K and Bishop Whitehead and Lavontraye are liars, then they need to be exposed. That's a damn shame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the New Yorker, that article, the New Yorker, that whole publishing company, that whole brand is a very reputable publication, as people are saying in the comment section. These are people who do their thorough research. They're not bloggers; they are journalists.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Kimberly. Please exit the chat. Anyway, because this is facts, and if you're not adult enough to listen to the facts, beat it.
So let's also talk about the facts, Sharrell.
Okay.
Mind you this. Now, because of everybody's being intellectually dishonest as far as Whitehead and Tasha, Whitehead is trying to act like he's an advocate for accusers. He's an advocate for potential victims. Well, guess what? In that same New Yorker article, it brings up the fact that the rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine, who pled guilty to making explicit videos with a 13-year-old girl, guess who stood up for him in court?
Oh, no.
Guess who spoke to the judge in defense of a guilty Tekashi 6ix9ine? Bishop Whitehead. And Tekashi 6ix9ine will go on later to thank Bishop Whitehead in a rap song.
Well, I know they're friends. They did like lives together. So I know they're friends and they're associated with each other.
But he supported a man who pled and admitted to filming explicit videos with a 13-year-old girl, but he's super advocate for so-called victims.
You are blowing me away today, but I appreciate you coming on and talk about this. I want to know facts. I want to know facts. It's really important. Let's move forward. Okay, so they're together. They decide to reach back into Larry's past. Tell me about this lawsuit and what you know about it, and how long ago was it?
Okay, and you mean the lawsuit against Lavontraye Andrews?
Exactly.
Okay. So this lawsuit was finally filed last year as a result of Lavontraye interviewing for the second time now with Lamar Blackhead, or I call him
No, no, no,
Blackhead.
no. Let's go
I
back
call him
further than that.
Whitehead.
I want to
Oh,
talk about the one with the blogger.
oh, you want to go back? Okay.
Because that's how far back they're going. How long
Yes.
ago was that?
Okay, so that lawsuit for defamation was back in 2021. And this particular YouTube uploader started off as fans, not only of Larry, but fans of myself and fans of another what they call church sector content creator, King Jives.
Yeah.
Now, this person was looking to get close to all of us, beyond being a supporter. That started in emails to us, that started in giving us his phone number through emails, trying to build a personal rapport with everyone. Now, King Jives went on to give him the friendship he was looking for. Larry nor myself allowed him to sit at the table. As a result of that, this person began a smear campaign that lasted for 2 years against myself, against Larry Reed, and then ultimately also against King Jives, who he, of course, eventually fell out with. So in that smear campaign, this man published very salacious narratives, lies, falsified documents, etc. And then as a last ditch effort to save a failing dusty trap house YouTube channel, he posted a community post on his Facebook wall and on his community wall and said, anyone who has any dirt on Larry, I'm willing to pay you to come forward.
Now you're 100% correct about that. He just came out and said that.
It's in the complaint.
It's
Yes,
in the complaint.
The proof is in a complaint.
Okay, so he goes around looking for participants to say bad things about Larry,
and it's willing to pay them. I'm willing to
and
pay
he's willing
anyone.
to pay them.
I'm willing to pay anyone to come forward who has any dirt on Larry within that time frame. Guess who magically comes forward? Lavontraye Andrews. But
oh my God,
but Lavontraye, but he doesn't come forward as himself. He comes forward as an avatar at this time. He wants to be nameless.
Okay.
He doesn't want to cam up, and he provides an alias.
So now let me remind the chat: Lavontraye is the accused, alleger, the accused, not alleger. What I'm talking about, the victim that just interviewed with Tasha K. Okay, go ahead.
Who got his start back with this campaign in 2021 with this particular YouTube uploader who I'm not naming.
Okay.
Because you got to work for clout. So he interviews with this YouTube uploader. Okay. Larry then decides, okay, you want my attention, I'm going to sue you. That results in Larry citing 77 grievances against this particular YouTuber for defamation. Okay, now, I want to show you something, because within those citations against this YouTuber who interviewed the accuser, these accusations also were in that complaint. Okay, the accusations around Larry giving another man HIV, which we'll get into. Okay, and the accusations about him fondling a 14-year-old boy. Okay. Now, what happened in that litigation, and I'm going to show you for yourself, is that when discovery came, and you guys know when it comes to litigation, discovery is when everybody puts their facts on the table. It's when you present your findings to support your argument on both sides. Well, Guess who didn't have a single fact to back up all of the claims he made against Larry for tax evasion, taking out illegal PPP loans, fondling a 14-year-old boy, giving someone HIV, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Guess who actually ran away from discovery?
Who and what do you mean by ran?
Ran away. The defendant themselves. And guess how we know that?
How?
Sharrell? Because the YouTuber's attorney, Frederick Middleton, wrote up a memorandum to the judge begging him to be fired from defending the YouTube upload.
Wait. The attorney wanted out?
Will you please provide me the courtesy of sharing thy screen? Because we are not LeVar Burton. They do not have to take my word for it. Okay? Make sure you guys thumbs up this video, please. Okay?
Conscious. Okay, here it goes. Hold on. Go ahead, Conscious. Oh my gosh.
As you guys can see here, Larry Reed versus defendant. What do you see here? Motion to withdraw as counsel and continuance of discovery orders. Let me read this real here. Now comes the defense counsel, Fred Middleton, and hereby moves this court to withdraw as counsel for the defendant. Counsel has reviewed this matter with the defendant and determined that they cannot properly and professionally proceed further as the defense counsel. There is no agreement as to the representation and future conduct of the representation. Counsel moves to withdraw as defendant's representative in the best interest of the defendant. Get into what he cites against his own client. I hereby certify that on the 4th of November, 2021, a copy of the foregoing was filed electronically. Okay, let's move on down here. Defendant has been given notice of the responsibility of proceeding with the prosecution and production of case materials in this matter, but has not been responsive to the request. The problems of communication and production of evidence via technical experts has been limited and caused delay of preparation of documents. The filings of court disclosures have been delayed by a lack of responses and communications from the client, and this will hinder the attorney-client relationship. The request for the case information has been met with acrimonious and differences of opinions as to the direction of this case. The cost of the case will be substantial and a difficult problem for the attorney to undertake without insurances from the client for proper support. So here it is. This man goes on a diatribe about his client being broke and dusty, how he himself is not willing to work for free, and how his client has ran and fled from the discovery process, leaving him as an attorney to appear incompetent of doing his job. And he refuses to represent this man any further and begs Judge S. Gwynn to release him. And out of pettiness, Sharrell, guess what Judge S. Gwynn does?
What?
Deny that request and bind Frederick Middleton to the case.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. This is a lot, but that's hardcore proof right there. Your own attorney doesn't want you to represent them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I'm hearing this.
This man,
everybody hit the like button. We gotta share this video because people need to know what actually happened, what went down with that case. You can't argue this. That's facts, and it's public records. If you want your own copy, go pull it.
And they can put it on courtlistener.com for free. They have the entire docket from the case. The PDF files are free. You just hit the download button, baby, and you can get into all of somebody else's business.
Now, does that sound like we're hiding receipts? What's the name of the website again?
Courtlistener.com. And all they have to do...
courtlistener.com. If you still don't believe it, go pull the records for yourself.
Or they can come and visit ConsciouzTv on YouTube. That's Conscious with a Z.
There you go. Or you could even email Conscious, okay?
That part too.
DM him. This is what I want facts. Now, I have not told you right now what I think about those.
Mm-hmm.
All I said is it's facts, and that is hardcore facts. So how did this lawsuit end up? Because people are saying that he lost the lawsuit. Is that true?
Yeah, that also would not be true because, and matter of fact, well, it'll probably be too much for me to go through. But the case so if you look at the initial complaint filed by Larry against this particular YouTube uploader, he wanted an injunction from the start. So because this is federal and judges don't like to proceed with jury, which you can also see Larry requested jury by trial, trial by jury is also on the initial complaint. But federal is expensive. Judges don't like assembling jurors and juries. It's expensive. It's a lot of time. People have to fly out. This is on a federal level as well because the defendant and the plaintiff live in separate states. It's a lot of rigmarole and a lot of arranging. Judges hate it. So what Judge S. Gwynn did is say, look, if you're looking for an injunction, it doesn't take a jury to accomplish that. So how about this? I will send you guys to mediation with the magistrate, and you guys can agree to that. That's exactly what the defendant gave to Larry in mediation, because what happened in mediation was they went over the cost of trial. For Larry, it would have costed him $130,000 to proceed to trial.
I believe it. Because I had to spend that. Go ahead.
Yeah. At this point, he had already spent $100,000 anyway. So, and for the defendant, because his lawyer was dealing with a broke client, he was going for the most lowball rate, which was $67,000. Now, mind you, the defendant couldn't even afford the attorney he had, yet alone a $67,000 tab to proceed to an April trial in 2021. So, of course, the defendant was quick to say, of course, I will accept an injunction. Of course. So him and his lawyer signed off on that injunction. Okay. That injunction is also accessible through the docket for free. It is intense. It is meticulous. It is line by line. It essentially declares that the YouTube uploader has to act like Larry Reed never existed to him. That's how detailed this injunction is. This injunction is different from a gag order because this injunction lasts for a lifetime, which means that the defendant is bound to the end of his days by this legal contract with the federal courts. Now, the defendant is currently in contempt. He was found in contempt in December. He's now paying Larry Reed $25 a day. He's currently in contempt. So there's already a second motion for a contempt charge in the system. He'll be charged with $50 a day then. But because he's continually in contempt, they are already working on a third contempt charge where he'll be paying $90 a day to Larry. And after that comes the infamous jail time.
Okay, that was a lot. They have an injunction, which is a list of things that they agreed upon. One of them is don't mention Larry.
Don't mention each other, yes.
So now,
within that injunction is a protective order. He cannot come within a certain amount of feet.
And a protective order?
And a protective order.
Damn.
Yes, he cannot.
Go shoot forward. Now, Tasha K.
But let me tell you, Sharrell, why there is a protective order.
Why?
Because in 2021, this crazy maniacal psychopath crossed state lines from Ohio to Atlanta, pulled up into Larry's gated community, and live streamed himself in front of Larry's home, saying that I will kick your door in if you don't keep my name out of your mouth.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow it down. Who in their right mind would do that?
Somebody who's not in their right. Well, I'm going to tell you how right the mind was, though. Because this was a strategic ploy to get a click and a view. Because Larry was on vacation in Miami with his family. So the defendant knew that the house was empty at the time, that he decided to strategically pull up in front of Larry's gated community.
Wow.
Yeah.
Child, I mean, conscious for the first, I don't know what to say. Because
just plead the blood of Jesus, Sharrell. Just plead the blood of Jesus.
All right. Let's fast forward. So you've got Tasha's upset with Larry. You explained that. Why is Bishop Whitehead upset with Larry?
Okay, so Bishop Whitehead and Larry met earlier on in the year before the infamous robbery by way of Larry's spiritual father, Bishop Bernard Jordan.
Right.
There was a meeting. Larry encountered Bishop Bernard Jordan. They all hung out, ate. Larry decided that Bishop Lamar Whitehead was not his type of dude. The guy was very materialistic, extremely shallow, and he used the F word flippantly, which, you know, Larry is very inclusive. He has a very inclusive brand, and you know, he has great respect for LGBT people and all people alike. But Bishop Whitehead took a liking to Larry. So he tried to really get to know Larry after initially meeting him, FaceTiming him in the middle of the night, always trying to video chat him, always calling him. So Larry had to kind of give him a soft no. So by the time Whitehead was robbed, him and Larry's friendship was already in a weird space because Larry wasn't reciprocating that same interest. So when Larry took to Instagram Live with another pastor by the name of Pastor Genesis Warren, Pastor Genesis Warren was the one who was really focused on establishing her belief that he had set this whole robbery up himself, that this was some type of a scam on Lamar's part, allegedly. All Larry did was imitate the way that Whitehead hit the ground on all fours. He assumed doggy style position when those masculine men came run up in that church, you know, ass up, face down type tease. So Larry was making light of the situation because everybody was making light of the situation. Everybody was
That's
talking
very
about the
clear.
situation.
Let me stop you for a minute. When Bishop Whitehead's church got robbed, it wasn't only Larry that didn't believe him. I did videos about it. It went viral. Nobody believed him, right? Conscious, nobody
Yeah,
believed.
including New Jersey police who did not
Oh,
also believe
okay.
Lamar. Okay, so
Okay.
Lamar claims that somebody sent him a video. The truth is he was following Larry because he was obsessed with Larry, and he saw the live stream and he was in the comment section windmilling. Larry, of course, allowed him to come up thinking that it was going to be fine, and he proceeded to call in Genesis a fat ass B and calling Larry the F word.
I seen that. I did. Yep.
But a few days later, Larry took to his YouTube channel and made a formal apology to Whitehead and say, hey, I wasn't meaning to be insensitive, you know, and I'm pretty much sorry if you were offended. Whitehead then took to his platform and also gave a formal apology and said, hey, it's cool, you know, I didn't mean to call you the F word. And that was that.
But hold on, Conscious. Didn't Bishop threaten to sue Jives and Larry for $40 million or something like this?
Okay, I'm gonna get to that.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So what triggered up the situation again was when the feds called Larry. And they called
Larry.
The feds, who, according to the New Yorker, that article that your subscribers can go listen to for themselves, who have been following Lamar since 2019. That's how long they've been on this man's head. Since 2019, they've been following this man's movements. They've been following his money. They've been following every lawsuit. They've been following every situation all the way up to December's indictment when he was apprehended. So
I'm gonna repeat what you said. Larry Whitehead was followed by the feds.
Yes, since 2019.
They don't follow you if you didn't do nothing wrong.
Yes. And even the ex-girlfriend in the article who was interviewed, even her, the one who said that he was getting up in the middle of the night to leave her to go spend quality time with Eric Adams in the middle of the night, she also had been contacted by the feds back in 2020. That's how long they have been after Lamar Whitehead. She has had dealings with them and them asking her questions and interviewing her, etc., about Lamar's movements.
Child. Oh, I'm going to say this, though. The feds don't follow you if you're not shady. Okay? You have to give them a reason to follow you around. So go ahead. They called Larry.
So they called Larry, and Larry says, hey, the feds just called me, and it looks like Lamar is going to be locked up by the end of the year. And that's exactly what took place. As a result of the feds calling Larry, Whitehead got triggered up and then issued out 2 twin lawsuits against King Jives for $20 million and against Larry Reed for $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because he hasn't been able to get King Jives served, King Jives' lawsuit has expired. So Lamar will have to refile all over again and attempt to serve Jives all over again. And he's suing Jives because Jives allegedly made some egregious claims that he also set this thing up himself and blah, 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 blah. Now, they found an alternative way to serve Larry Reed, allegedly. But the lawsuit is going to be thrown out and conclude to nothing because what Larry Reed said came to fruition. Larry Reed can prove that the feds contacted him, and the current indictment validates that what Larry said was fact-based.
Is this really Larry, Conscious?
I'm going to say $4.99. Doesn't seem like a Larry Reed move.
Okay.
That should have been $400. But I'm a text the doctor. I'm a text.
No, I appreciate it. I get a lot of people who come in under false names, but thank you very much for the super chat.
Larry, turn that $4.99 into $400.
No, okay. All right, so that's when I start picking up the story. So Bishop Whitehead was upset with them. I recall trying to sue them. He also made a series of videos, okay, in which he was supposed to talk about this old case, and he was laughing. Did you see these videos? He was, wait, no. Thank you so much, Larry.
Pay your bill, Sharrell. Pay your bill.
Thank you very much, Larry. I appreciate it. So this is when I come in. So Bishop Lamar Whitehead made a series of videos bringing up those old documents. But for me, and did you see these? It was like revenge.
Yes,
he was laughing.
Yes.
He was making noises. He was shaking. Oh my God. And it lasted a complete weekend. And sometimes it would go on for hours.
Yes.
And if you go ahead.
It's called obsessive mania. Yeah. Obsessive mania. Another disgruntled person who took an extreme response to being rejected. And I want you to notice this pattern, Sharrell. Isn't it weird that just like in Lavontraye's case, every time Larry decides he doesn't want to be bothered by somebody, they jump to an extreme false equivalency and really try to draw blood from this man. Look at the way that Tasha K is attempting to hurt Larry. Now ask yourself, what the hell has Larry Reed done to even deserve this from Tasha K?
Or, Conscious, could it be that they have different reasons? What is it? For the record, I did believe the robbery was real and said so.
And did.
Genesis didn't. Okay.
Right.
You're saying that she's coming after Larry. I've lost my train of thought. Why did you say she was coming after him?
Because she felt humiliated when he corrected her about the misinformation she put out about him regarding a $25K tab by her shared lawyer with him. She felt humiliated.
Or could it be another reason? Both.
Yeah.
She does this for clicks and views.
Well, she not only does this for click and views, but she also wanted Larry to invest in a business that Larry didn't necessarily want to tie himself into, because who thinks that a great business person is someone who's liable to be sued again for $4.8 million? Because guess what creditors come for when you find yourself in debts of all kinds? They come for your companies. So Larry, of course, didn't, he was hesitant. So there were lots of little things that probably led to unhinged feeling away. And I'm going to tell you something else that people don't know. After that night that everything took place on her employees' platform between me and her and Larry, that same week she called Larry and she gave him an ultimatum. She said, it's either me or Conscious.
What? What do you
It's
mean?
me.
What?
It's me or Conscious.
I mean, I heard you, but why? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I have no idea what that means, but what that meant is Conscious clearly won.
All right, let's
And
move forward. Go
yes,
ahead. Go ahead.
yes, yeah. Well, because I wouldn't let her make up with me, so now she felt like I was a threat because of my proximity to Larry, and she felt like because I didn't like her now, that I was going to pose as a threat to her relationship to Larry. But I never informed Larry about what he needed to do with Tasha. I just threw her out of the window. If he wanted to remain perfectly, friendly with her, that was perfectly fine. But I believe once she realized that I was not responding to texts or phone calls and that I was not going to allow her to make this up to me by buying me a new wig or getting me new bundles, that she saw me as a threat and she gave him an ultimatum. It's me or Conscious. Yeah.
It's a lot. Okay, so let's move forward. So now the smear campaign is at an all-time high. She's interviewing, I can't say that. Well, Lavontraye. Sorry.
Lavontraye Andrews.
Oh, Lavontraye.
Or you can just call him Trey.
Trey, yeah,
Lavontraye.
that's
I'm
better
Trey.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
She's interviewing Trey. A lot of people, the story's gaining traction, and it's just reaching a feverish pitch. So everyone's saying, we need proof. We need proof. A lot of people are saying they need proof. What went down yesterday on your channel?
What went down yesterday on my channel is something that I'm about to show you. There was I was going over some receipts just to refresh the audience. One of those receipts involved a text thread, or a DM thread, if you will, between Lavontraye and Larry Reed back in 2017. And I had just read the affidavit that Lavontraye had submitted to the courts in December saying that, hey, Larry can't serve me with this lawsuit because I don't live in North Carolina. I've been living in Georgia since 2015, and my mother does not have a right to receive a summons on my behalf. And he presented a redacted Georgia license. Therefore, Larry had to submit a motion to withdraw the case or have it dismissed without prejudice. Without prejudice meaning he has the power to refile it. So now Larry is going to refile in the state of Georgia where Lavontraye lives. Okay. So then I pulled up this text thread because people were saying, well, CTV, why is it that this man would do this? This man would do this because he's disgruntled. He established that in the text thread, Sharrell, that he is upset that Larry cut him off, that Larry blocked him, that Larry didn't want nothing to do with him. But then he says something very interesting, and I'm going to show you something here. Matter of fact, I'm going to share my screen real quick 2 times. Okay. I'm going to show you the affidavit and only the part that's relevant to what we're speaking to. Let me see here. Affidavit.
Here we go. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so you see here in the affidavit right here on
You're prepared. Okay.
I am 32 years of age. Oh, baby, I came prepared. I am 32 years of age. Okay. So there's that. Now he cites this to the courts. So then I go on to proceed with my receipts, and I get into this DM thread that I'm going to also share here so you guys can see. Now, mind you, there's 2 things I want to establish here with this receipt. If you watch the interview by Unhinged with Folok, okay? In the interview, at some point toward the middle of the interview, her and Lavontraye have a big cackle over how preposterous it is that Larry would believe that Lavontraye would say these things because he's been cut off. And they had a big laugh about this, like, oh, how ridiculous, how arrogant, how narcissistic of Larry to believe that I would say this out of being hurt. Well, let me read this to you, Sharrell.
Okay.
Hey, Reed. Now, mind you, this is the July 15th, 2017 DM, Facebook DM between Lavontraye and Larry. Hey, Reed. So it's clear that the convo I had with PB, meaning Pastor Bryant, who he had this conversation with about Reed.
Okay.
was misrepresented. So let me clarify. I didn't ask him why you deleted me. I told him I noticed you deleted me when I went to message you a few weeks ago. You don't owe me an explanation for anything you decide to do with your life. It's not that I was uncomfortable asking you why. I just wasn't interested. If deleting me in Ash is one of the things it takes to make your life more enjoyable, then I encourage it. Honestly, if a vision was enough, which I don't believe it was, for you to make a in the moment decision to delete me from your social media without pursuing a conversation after almost 10 years of relationship history, we were never as close as I wanted to believe all these years anyway, bruh.
This is the victim, right? The
This
alleged
is the accuser.
accuser. Oh my
He's
God.
disgruntled. You don't owe me anything. Even your explanation for why you deleted us agrees with my logic. You were able to rationalize that a conversation needed to happen in response to that rationalization. You decided deleting us was best with the disgruntled emoji. That's not the way you respond in a relationship that's of value to you. This is what the accuser is saying to his alleged abuser who has decided to set him free. And you would think that he would be running down the street butt naked, screaming to God, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Instead, he's upset he's blocked. He's upset he's been cut off. He's upset that he's been separated. And he's disgruntled at Larry and saying, how dare you? How dare you? You don't think you owe me a conversation? You don't think I have a say so and rather we remain in connection to each other? But yet, Sharrell, he sits in that interview and has a big cackle about how ridiculous it is of a notion for anyone to believe that he would be upset at Larry and then say these things as a result of not being in Larry's life. And yet, that's just, in fact, what he does. But let me tell you what's also more incriminating. And this is the thread that unravels and dismantles this entire thing. He doesn't realize, because he wouldn't know that a few years later, he would go on a smear campaign against Larry. Mm-hmm. In this same text thread, he establishes a what? He establishes a timeline in the moment decision to delete me from your social media without pursuing a conversation after almost 10 years of relationship history. Almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. Guess what, Sharrell?
What?
This text thread he sent this message in what? July 15th of 2017.
Yeah.
At this time, because Lavontraye was born October 1990. He would have been 27 years old in 2017. He's citing what now at that time is a almost 10 years of relationship history. Mm-hmm. That means, guess how old Lavontraye would have been?
How
10
old?
years from 27 years old. He would have been 17 when his relationship started to Larry Reid. Guess what the mother lover does in the interview?
What?
Says that he's known Larry since he was 14 and 15.
Right.
And tells Unhinged that he for sure was under the age of 16 when Larry began grooming him. And Larry began doing A, B, C, D, E, F, N, G, but in his own words to Larry, establishes the crime and then says almost. So really, in fact, it could be less than 10 years. He's just establishing at cap at least 10 years, at the least, at the most 10 years of relationship history. So why are you saying that you were 14 and 15 when you met this man and came into proximity to this man when you know darn well that you were anywhere between 17 and 18 years of age when you first began relationship to Larry Reid in his own words? And I'm going to tell you what's even more problematic about this. Because not only does this thread proof, his own timeline proof that he's now intentionally lying. He's been lying since the beginning, because in the initial interview with the original YouTube uploader, he told that YouTube uploader he was 14. When he interviewed with Bishop Blackhead last year in an interview, he changed it to then 15. Then he doubles back around in the new interview and says, well, no, I was 14 again. But he establishes at 27 years old that his relationship to Larry is only a little less than 10 years old at this point, which puts he himself at the 17, 18-year mark. Now, there's something else really outlandish that's going on here.
Okay.
When Lavontraye first came forward to the original YouTube uploader, and he said, I was molested by this man at 14 years old. People asked Lavontraye for receipts. He produced the cover page of a police report from the Raleigh Police Department. And I'm going to show you the cover page for that police report here. Let me pull this up and make sure that you guys thumbs up this video. Okay. All right. Let me share the screen here. And you're going to be looking at this is what Lavontraye presented back in 2021 to the original YouTube uploader that gave him a platform.
Okay.
Here is that police report from the Raleigh Department, North Carolina. Okay. This here, okay, the police report was filed in 2018, as you can see there. And then if you look over here to the left corner, here's the crime. Sex offense / forcible fondling. Right. And then it gives location of crime. 3216 Alusty Drive.
Yeah.
Do you know why that's interesting? That Lavontraye would claim to be 14 and had been forcibly fondled at the 3216 Alusty Drive. Because if you look at the property deeds, and you might want to, I don't know if you can take this banner down real quick.
Oh, okay.
So see this bottom part. If you look at the property deeds for that property, it was sold in 2006 to Larry Reed. Guess how old Lavontraye would have been? I mean, guess what year he would have been in at the Alusty Drive he filed on this frivolous police report at the age he claimed he was fondled at 14. It would have been 2004. This property didn't even exist in 2004. It was a vacant lot in 2004. It was a vacant lot in 2005. Larry didn't even own the 3216 Alusty property, nor did he build a structure on top of it until 2006, 2007. So how it is? So once again, according to Lavontraye's timeline, your relationship started 10 years prior to being 27 years old, which makes you 17 to 18 years of age. But yet you're going through interviews citing that you are 14 and 15 years old, and then present a police report, a frivolous police report that says these crimes happened at the 3216 Alusty Drive property when you were 14, but the property wasn't owned and built by Larry until 2006, not 2004, not 2005. But guess what, Sharrell?
What?
Let me gag you a little bit more here. Lavontraye told Bishop Lamar Whitehead in 2022, in his second interview by then, when asked, well, what have you done about this? You're running to social media. You know, you are running to all of Larry's enemies. You won't talk to anybody who will address you in a critical way. You won't sit down with any other. You only are talking to his open enemies. And they're not asking you the difficult questions. They're not making you address your inconsistencies and your obvious coochie popping. They're not doing that. So he says, well, as a result of this Raleigh police report that I filed in 2018, there's an open investigation against Larry Reed by the Raleigh police report. And guess what? You can also find that same rumor milling in Larry's initial complaint to the original uploader, who also spread the false notion that there's an open investigation as a result of the police report. Well, I'm going to share my screen again, Miss Sharrell.
Mm-hmm. Woof.
And I'm going to show you something, because see, this is why you have to, if you're not following this stuff, you're going to miss everything. If you're just jumping in and you're kind of looking, not looking, not looking, you're not going to understand what's happening here. Let me share my screen here. Because of the lawsuit, and because the original uploader who originally interviewed Lavontraye also touted this, that there's a police report. Guess what happened? Let me read this to you. And this is all PDF, baby. This is all court. Moore, the original YouTube uploader who interviewed Lavontraye, has repeatedly asserted that he has a report from the police department in Raleigh, North Carolina, which demonstrates that Reed was accused of and engaged in the sexual molestation of an underage boy, and that the report confirms this. It goes on to say Moore has attempted to bolster his false allegations by referring to what he claims is contained in a Raleigh police report. Upon consultation with the police department, Georgia Council learned that police policy forbids the public disclosure of anything but a public cover page of the report, which Council then obtained and which substantiates none of the charges made by the YouTube uploader. What you don't know that so anybody following the case knows the actual police report, because of the nature of it, it concerns a sexual offense by someone who claims they were underage at the time. What's within that police report was only accessible by attorneys by way of a sign-off by a judge. The lawyers had to subpoena the Raleigh, North Carolina Police Department to access this police report, and found that there was no such investigation in the police database against Larry Reed. And mind you this, Sharrell, how the hell was there going to be an open investigation against Larry? How the hell was there even going to be an investigator assigned to the investigation when Lavontraye never even put Larry's name on the police report that he's floating around? He never put Larry's phone number on the police report. He never put Larry's name on the police report. He never put Larry's address on a police report. But he's openly saying he filed a police report that has led to an open investigation. And mind you this, Sharrell, why the hell would it take police 5 years to investigate this case?
Okay.
Vetted by the federal courts in 2021.
Oh my God. I am blown away. Have they heard this before? Is this the first time they're going to hear this? I don't know what to say. I mean, how do you defend that? Oh my God. Conscious.
In the words of Candy Burris, it's the lies. It's the lies. It's the lies.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. Bishop Whitehead, I reached out to you. If you are watching this, can you please come on and talk about these accusations? Because he just blew it out of the water. I mean, what can you say? I want to know what you have to say to this. Tasha K, I want to know what you have to say about this. I'm open to both sides. But I need some explanations, because
I want to say Unhinged and Bishop Criminal Head, if you're watching, you're going to bust hell wide open as well. Remember that.
I don't know how you defend this, but if you have a reason or explanation, you're more than willing to come on and talk about it. I'm going to reach out to you again, and I'm going to send you a clip of this. I really want to know, how do you respond to this? Because if you don't respond to this, you're lying. You have to respond to this. You have to respond. If you do a 3-series documentary, I don't remember what it was, a PPP, this has to be included. This cannot be exempt from your documentary. This is key evidence. Oh my God.
So speaking about that, Sharrell, now let me tell you what's as obvious as a pink elephant in a room with white walls.
Yeah.
Anybody who's after the truth in this matter and who realizes that it's two people at stake here. There is the potential, there's the reputation of a man who can be innocent, and then there's the plight of someone who, according to them, could be a victim. Anybody who takes that seriously and understands and is being truly fair and non-biased would have facilitated and included within the interview would have presented these inconsistencies to Lavontraye, would have made Lavontraye answer to this police report that was discovered by the feds to have been baseless and frivolous and without merit. Damn. Would have made him answer to his flippant changing of his ages, would have presented to him these DMs of why he establishes in his own words that he did not meet Larry until he was 17, 18 years of age. But guess what? None of that was presented in this interview because this so-called raggedy series that nobody even signed up for on the app, which is why she was forced to go ahead and load it to YouTube because she has a failing app and a failing channel. She only wanted to give Lavontraye the space to say the salacious, unfounded lies against Larry Reed. That is the only thing this was about, which is why she's not challenging him, which is why she's not holding his feet to the carpet, which is why she's not presenting the facts, things that have been literally debunked at this point. Debunked by the feds, debunked by a 2021 lawsuit where Raleigh Police Department was subpoenaed. Debunked. And yet, she challenges none of that and says, hey, just tell me what this nigga did to you because that's really all I came for, baby.
Yeah.
And she reminds you of that, Sharrell, several times in the 2-hour interview. Lavontraye, tell me what Larry did. Lavontraye, tell me what Larry did. Lavontraye, tell me what Larry did. Lavontraye wanted to talk about everything in that interview but what Larry Reed allegedly did to him. She had to keep begging him to get back on the mark. What did this man do to you?
Ooh, okay. This is an important part of the smear campaign. We want to know, how do you respond to this? I will be sending a clip to Tasha. I will be sending a clip to Lamore. They need to explain themselves. They like talking about this case so much. Let's talk about that part. Anybody in the chat, when people come to you and say there's no proof, refer to this. I'm going to whittle this little part down and put this on my IG. We need answers to this. Because what we don't want to do is accuse an innocent man of doing something that's a bold-faced lie. And if that's true, these two are despicable. Despicable. Who does that? Who does that? So if you want to clear your name, answer these questions. Let's answer these accusations. What he just put up there, we need answers. And I remember on his tape, Bishop Whitehead said, Larry, we need answers. Do you remember this? We need answers. Now I'm telling you, Bishop Whitehead, we need answers from you and Tasha K. We need answers. I'm not going to just convict somebody without all the facts, without it making sense. Am I re-victimize the victim? No. But I'm asking them to explain this evidence. Explain it.
Somebody said something so notable, a beautiful Sharrell. They said, in lieu of all that's presented today, the most obvious thing here is consider the source. You have a woman who's also now a federally documented liar and slanderer.
That's just a fact.
You have a man who is a convicted con and who is convicted for lying and deception. Both look at all of the questionable mugshotty people involved in this smear campaign. If that's not enough alone, then I mean, I don't, it's nothing else that you can really say to people.
I mean, to me, unless that's explained, your documentary is worthless. You cannot overlook important facts. And I don't know Tasha K, so it's not I don't like her, or I don't know the bishop. He rubs me the wrong way. But if he's innocent, and if this is not a smear campaign, come forward. Come forward. Because if you don't come forward, you're going to look grimy and like you're up to the same old tricks that you always do. I'm not calling you a con artist. You went to jail for conning people. You're indicted now for conning people. Explain this. Or I'm just going to say this is another con gone wrong. Thank you, Bonji, for the super chats. Thank you, Hood Life, for the $20. I asked for receipts. Child, I got them.
Look, anything going forward now is going to be manufactured lies. Any receipts they're going to have, are going to be manufactured lies.
Yeah.
Just like Bishop Whitehead putting out a call log of a phone number and then captioned it, "Larry, stop calling me on Sunday." Wasn't even Larry's phone number. This is the type of smoke and mirrors they do. They Photoshop evidence, they falsify documents, they do whatever they have to do to sustain their raggedy trap house credibility. They just lie and scheme and scam and lie and lie and lie. Just explicitly lie. Out of vengeance and out of payola.
So what I want to do, and you tell me what you think about this, Conscious. Thank you, Sheila, for the super chat. Everybody is blown away. But what I want to do is, I was going to take questions. I have one person that wants to talk to you, but I was going to take questions. I don't want to take questions.
Yeah.
I want this video to be just to stay the way it is about the facts. I don't want anything clouding this. I don't want anybody trying to, I want this to stay just the way it is. But would you come back and we'll take calls on another day when you're available? Conscious?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. Yes, I'm here.
Can you come back another day?
Of course, absolutely.
And we'll do nothing but take phone calls.
Yes, absolutely.
I want this video to stay in its purity.
Yes.
I want it to be where you showed your receipts. I don't want it clouded. Then we'll take questions another day.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't want to take questions now too, except for one, is because I want to see their response. Bishop Whitehead, you go on every night on your IG, every night. I'll be there tonight. I would love to hear your response.
Yes. Yes.
I have one person that wanted to ask one question, and I had told her before that she could ask a question. Sin, are you ready to come up? Okay, we have one question. And then I'm going to stop there. We've been on for almost 2 hours. Sin, go ahead.
Hi, I forgot your name.
ConsciouzTv.
I saw. Oh, okay. I saw. Is it true that he also is in foreclosure with his home?
Who?
Whitehead.
Not only is he's been in foreclosure for 3 months, but on top of that, the current church he's at,
Yeah.
he illegally seized the property and
Wait, what?
changed the locks on the building and kicked out another congregation and threw all of their things to the street. So they're currently litigating as well over that property right now.
Child, I am done. No more tonight. No more tonight. This is enough.
His wife, his spiritual wife also, who they could not find a marriage certificate for.
I was going to say spiritual wife.
Yeah,
What is
because they're not legally married.
that?
Who also
Child.
left him 2 Sundays ago. He called the authorities on her, kept her from leaving in a U-Haul. Her family was banging outside of the door. He was not allowing her to leave. Called the popo. Yeah, it's the reason why she's no longer around anyway. And according to her Instagram live, or her Insta story, she's happy to be a free woman.
All right, let's end this here. Because I don't want to cloud it with that. I want people to see these facts. Thank you, Sin, for asking a question.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. Conscious, I'm going to
Yes.
leave this video right where it is.
Okay.
Over the facts that we can't dispute. Then you'll come back whenever you're available. I hope tomorrow or the next day. And we'll take questions and stuff like that because I just want to hear their response.
Yeah. There's not going to be a response. What's going to be is they're going to spend more salacious narratives in order to deflect from the facts. They're going to stick to rumor milling. They're going to stick to falsifying call-outs like they did. They're going to do all of that. That's what they're going to do.
I hope you're wrong. Let's see what they do.
Yes. Well, the people can find me on ConsciouzTv, and that's Conscious with a Z. And I'm happy to be back. And I really thank you, Sharrell, because you didn't have to do this.
Child, you didn't have to do this.
I appreciate you inviting me here. And I told myself that if I was going to come, then I had to come fact-based. So if people are upset, they can be upset at the courts who investigated this Raleigh Police Department. We showed the court records. And we're just using what Lavontraye has said. Nobody's putting words in his mouth. We're using his own lack of continuity, his own inconsistencies, and we're using the paperwork.
My candy voice. The paperwork. Yes. All right. You guys, please don't forget to like this video. We got to get this video out. I will be clipping this and sending it to the bishop and Tasha K. Should I throw Mr. Andrews on there too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You can do
what it is. Thank you for a hell of an interview. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, babe.
Thank you. You didn't have to send the super chats, but I really appreciate it. And everybody that's super chatted us. Woo! On 3 Conscious. Let's say bye.
Can I do something? People are confused about how to spell my YouTube channel name.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if you're going to put it in the title or not, but it's Conscious.
Title, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's in the title, you guys. It's Conscious ConsciouzTv, but it's Conscious with a Z instead of an S. So you got to put a Z on the end of ConsciouzTv right here on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you so much,
guys.
Sharrell.
Check him out, okay? Check out his YouTube channel. It's better than this because I seen the video yesterday. It's better than this. It goes down on ConsciouzTv. It goes down.
Yes.
And he provided the receipts that he said that he was going to do, and I'm blown away. On 3, Conscious, let's say bye. 1, 2, 3. Bye, guys.
Bye.